I believed that I could see 5 lights.
Do you remember that rush of excitement every time you turned on the TV, waiting for the iconic theme of Star Trek The Next Generation to swell? It was 1987, a time when our vision of the universe was shaped by a bold, bald captain, an android longing to be human, and voyages that sought to heal humanity, even as the Cold War still lingered. Be honest, did you find yourself frozen by the cold, mechanical gaze of Locutus when Picard was assimilated by the Borg? Or did you feel your heart tighten at that defiant, agonized cry of, "There are 4 lights in the heat of the torture room"?
4 lights.
Yet hidden behind those grand epics lie fascinating secrets from Troi's pregnancy, with a mysterious entity and Barclay's haunting de-evolution into a spider to the classic facepalm that has become an immortal meme. Today, join me as we revisit the most paused moments in Star Trek TNG, a legendary monument that will forever hold a place in our hearts. 13. Captain Picard assimilated by the Borg. Resistance is futile. Do you remember this classic sequence? The moment our respected captain was forcefully grafted with mechanical components, followed by that chilling declaration,
I am Locutus of Borg. Resistance is futile.
It was the Enterprise crew's darkest hour, being forced to face and attack the very leader they loved and trusted most. But did you know, despite being assimilated for only 6 days, Picard was left with a permanent psychological scar. That trauma haunted him for the rest of his life, stretching from the fiery confrontations in Star Trek First Contact all the way to the recent Picard series. More than 3 decades have passed, but this remains one of the most shocking twists in television history. It didn't just turn the Borg into the most iconic, villainous race of all time. It elevated the entire series to a whole new level. 12. The sudden and senseless death of Tasha Yar.
Gone.
Brace yourself for one of the most brutal pivots in TV history, the abrupt death of Lieutenant Tasha Yar. The perpetrator was Armus, an entity as black as an oil slick, the physical embodiment of the evil skin cast off by an ancient civilization. Despite Dr. Crusher's best efforts, the damage to her nervous system was so absolute that even 24th century medicine stood helpless. The most moving part, however, lies in her final testament. After her passing, a hologram was played for the crew with Data watching, as his close friend said her last goodbyes. So why did a character with such potential have to leave so soon? The truth is that Denise Crosby was deeply dissatisfied with the writing. She felt Tasha Yar was being relegated to a fading background character, merely serving as a foil for the male leads. Although there were originally even more tragic scripts on the table, it was Gene Roddenberry himself who insisted on this humane farewell. He adamantly refused to let the crew kill Armus for revenge, as such an act would go entirely against the humanitarian spirit of the 24th century. 11. Deanna Troi's mysterious pregnancy.
I've got him. You can relax.
What if one day you woke up and suddenly found yourself pregnant? It sounds like a joke, but that's exactly what Deanna Troi experienced in this episode. While the Enterprise is cruising at light speed, a mysterious entity enters Deanna Troi's body in her sleep. The next morning, a medical nightmare, she is pregnant, and the clock starts a frantic countdown. Labor will be complete in a mere 36 hours. But did you notice this? The male officers discussed terminating the pregnancy, forcing Troi to speak up and assert control over her own body. And poor Riker, the man who to this day is still mistaken by millions of fans as the father in this unfair situation. Oh, poor Deanna, she will be haunted by the memory of that child. 10. Picard and the iconic facepalm.
Because in all the universe, you're the closest thing I have to a friend, Jean-Luc.
Sir, he is reading as fully human.
What must I do to convince you that I am mortal die? Short, concise, and incredibly lethal. Recall the scene Q, the omnipotent entity, has been stripped of his powers by the Continuum and appears on the Enterprise bridge as a pathetic mortal. As Q whines about his fate, Picard, exhausted beyond measure, simply buries his face in his hand. And boom, a legendary meme was born. The most fascinating part, Patrick Stewart never intended to create a pop culture icon. It was a completely natural reaction to John Delancey's chaotic performance. Today, this meme has transcended the show, used in everything from politics to tech, whenever someone does something undeniably stupid. There is a brilliant paradox here in the show. The crew views Q as a constant thorn in their side. But let's be honest, whenever Q appears on screen, we know we're in for an incredible episode. 9. Data asks Worf to cat sit Spot.
Goodbye, Spot. He will need to be fed once a day. He prefers feline supplement number 25.
I understand.
Forget the fierce battles with the Romulans. The most terrifying opponent a Klingon warrior ever faced was a house cat. In this hilarious sequence, Data needs to go in for repairs and entrusts his beloved cat Spot to Worf. With all the pride he can muster, the lieutenant delivers a line for the ages. "I am a Klingon warrior. I was not meant to nursemaid a cat." The harsh reality? He still had to agree only to end up with hands covered in scratches and a series of pathetic sneezes. Interestingly, actor Michael Dorn didn't care much for cats in real life either. He was scratched multiple times and spent his scenes being tormented by a creature weighing less than 5 kilograms. Speaking of Spot, she was a true drama queen on set. The cat constantly changed breeds, switching from long-haired gray to orange tabby. Brent Spiner even jokingly exposed his four-legged co-star, calling her a nightmare to work with. 8. There are 4 lights.
There are 4 lights!
If anyone ever asks me what gaslighting truly looks like, I point them directly to this arc. Held captive by the Cardassians, Picard is tortured and pressured to admit there are 5 lights, when in reality there are only 4. The most brutal aspect of the torture is sleep deprivation. The enemy wants Picard to break and accept their lies as absolute truth. Yet despite the agony, the captain screams back, "There are 4 lights." The true shock comes later. Upon returning to the Enterprise, Picard privately confesses to Troi that he was on the verge of breaking. There was a flickering moment where his mind wavered so much that he actually did see a 5th light appearing. This is storytelling at its peak. Today, the line, "There are 4 lights," has become a powerful meme used whenever facing manipulation, fake news, or any form of oppression in real life. 7. Data kisses Jenna Desora. Think Data was always just a dry, emotionless guy. Think again, because he once went through a highly memorable romance with Jenna. To prepare for his relationship, Data literally programmed himself to learn how to date, from buying flowers to polling his friends for advice. But the peak of the comedy is the logical kiss. Imagine kissing someone passionately, only to be met with a status report.
In that particular moment, I was reconfiguring the warp field parameters, analyzing the collected works of Charles Dickens, calculating the maximum pressure I could safely apply to your lips, considering a new food supplement for Spot.
Well, talk about a guaranteed way to extinguish the flames of romance. Fortunately, Jenna Desora taught Data a lot about love. She famously explained that when a girl says, "Go away and leave me alone," it actually translates to, "Don't go anywhere, just hold me, you idiot." Wondering how this quirky romance came to be? The writers actually based Jenna on the die-hard female fans from the Star Trek The Original Series era, the ones who spent their days dreaming of a romance with the cold, emotionless Mr. Spock. 6. Barclay transforms into a Spider Genesis.
What was that?
terrifying, bizarre, and utterly haunting. That is what I remember from witnessing the crew being plunged into a genetic de-evolution crisis. At the center of this nightmare is Lieutenant Barclay. He is transformed into a grotesque spider hybrid, complete with terrifyingly hairy limbs. But the tragedy doesn't stop there. This reverse evolution turns the ship into a bizarre zoo. Troi becomes an amphibious creature, and even Spot the cat doesn't escape her fate, transforming into an iguana. The brilliance of the script lies in the detail each character de-evolves based on their own personality traits. Because Barclay was often anxious and had a tendency to cling to others, the filmmakers chose to turn him into a spider. The punchline: after everything returns to normal, Dr. Crusher jokes that Barclay didn't just de-evolve. He now officially has a medical condition named after him. 5. The Battle of Wolf 359. Starfleet devastated by the Borg.
Our shields are being drained. 64%. 42.
Recalibrate shield mutation.
Do you remember the most horrific tragedy in Federation history? It was the battle between a 40-ship Starfleet armada and a massive Borg cube. In a mere 6 minutes, 39 ships were completely obliterated, claiming over 11,000 lives lost or assimilated. The image of the devastated starship graveyard when the Enterprise arrived at the scene is a truly haunting piece of footage. Making it even more painful was the presence of civilian ships and families. The Borg advanced so rapidly that Starfleet was caught completely off guard. Amidst the wreckage, Sisko's gut-wrenching cry regarding his wife,
Damn it! We just can't leave her here!
became one of Avery Brooks's most powerful and emotional moments. And here's a treat for the science buffs. Wolf 359 isn't just a fictional name. It's a real-life red dwarf star located about 7.8 light-years away from Earth. 4. Picard and the story of the village, the Inner Light. If there were a ranking of the best Star Trek episodes, I wouldn't hesitate to vote for The Inner Light. The moment occurs as Picard wakes up on the Enterprise after being unconscious for 25 minutes. Riker hands him a small box. Upon opening it, Picard falls silent as he finds the Rasican flute, the sole surviving relic of an entire world. He clutches it to his chest and plays a single hauntingly melancholic note. In reality, Picard lived an entire lifetime in those brief 25 minutes. After being hit by an energy beam from an alien probe, his consciousness was transported to the planet Kataan to live as a villager named Cayman. Throughout this virtual life, he raised a family, saw his children grow, and witnessed the slow demise of his planet. When he finally woke up, he was struck by the staggering realization that the civilization, memories, and legacy of those people had vanished long ago. A lifetime condensed into 25 minutes, leaving Picard as the final storyteller for a dead world. 3. Data's first emotion.
I'll explain later.
Ooh. Well, it looks like he hates it.
Yes, that is it.
I bet every die-hard fan of The Next Generation gets a thrill from this moment. It's when Data finally gets a taste of emotion after Geordi installs his long-awaited emotion chip. The scene takes place in 10 Forward, where Data tries a strange new drink. The moment the liquid touches his tongue, he exclaims, "I hate this," with a look of pure disgust. But immediately after, Data bursts into laughter because he finally understands what it feels like to hate something, even demanding, "Please, may I have another?" To be honest, at first, I thought Data didn't actually mind the drink. But it turns out that since he's never had feelings before, he's just excited to finally know how to hate Data. At this rate, you'll turn into a total glutton for punishment in no time. 2. Worf accepts discommendation to protect family honor.
You are the son of a traitor.
What do you think is the ultimate frontier for a warrior? For Worf, it isn't the battlefield, but rather the choice to bow his head in dishonor to protect the truth. In the episode Sins of the Father, Worf makes a gut-wrenching choice to stand before the High Council and accept discommendation. The moment the assembled warriors simultaneously turn their backs on him creates a silence that is absolutely breathtaking. Legendary writer Ronald D. Moore was not exaggerating when he claimed this ending redefined how Klingons were portrayed in Star Trek. Almost every subsequent chapter involving Worf, Duras, Gulron, or the Klingon Civil War traces its roots back to this pivotal turning point. Even actor Michael Dorn admitted that this episode helped him discover a completely new dimension to Worf, deep, multifaceted, and tragic. Worf ceased to be merely a fierce warrior and became a profound symbol of silent sacrifice. 1. The crew's final poker game.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Data. Actually, I used to be quite a card player in my youth, you know.
If there is one moment seen as the ultimate bond between the crew, it's the exact second. Picard sits down at the table and plays poker. After 7 seasons of maintaining professional distance, Picard suddenly appears to join the game. His line, "I should have done this a long time ago," marks the exact moment he sheds his mantle of command to truly become part of the family, rather than just their leader. But the most moving part happened behind the scenes. The entire cast couldn't hold back their tears. Patrick Stewart admitted that in that moment, everyone had reached the final frontier of emotion. They held hands for a long time before the camera started rolling. And the second cut was called Michael Dorn. Our fierce Klingon warrior broke down sobbing while removing his prosthetics. Goodness, if I had been there, I'm sure I would have been crying right along with them. After nearly 4 decades, Star Trek The Next Generation is no longer just a science fiction show. It has become a monumental cultural legacy. Every time we hit the pause button, we discover the immense heart and meticulous detail the crew poured into this universe. It is this very craftsmanship that has allowed TNG to transcend time, ensuring that whenever we look back, we still feel that soaring spirit to boldly go where no one has gone before. Is there another scene that made you pause so much your screen nearly burned out? Share your favorites with us in the comments below.